All right, from the man Fabricio himself, Chelsea elect to separate ways from Mauricio Pochettino effective immediately, and that makes me a very happy Chelsea fan. I think it was way more than overdue. I think he had many games he could have been sacked. Middlesbrough, Liverpool, Wolves come to mind. I think he has well overlonged to stay. I know giving him the full season, but I mean, with Chelsea, we can kind of see where the season's going when it's not going the way we need to go. We can move on from the manager. We've shown to do that in past, and it's worked. We've decided to see the season through this year, and at the end of the day, we are moving on from Mauricio Pochettino, and that is the very much so the correct decision. I think it instills a bit more faith in this board. It shows that they have some sort of a standard that they're trying to hold the club to. I think that is where Mauricio Pochettino lacked immensely. I think he just failed miserably to set any kind of reasonable standard for a Chelsea club. I think he used many excuses. I think, yeah, injuries were a problem, but we had some of our best patches when we were at our highest injury totals. I just think like he caught on too late of what we needed, and too little too late. It's just not enough when you're at a big club. You kind of gotta hit the ground rolling. We were kind of, that was the expectation. We were in a state where we needed to do that. We put the funds in the club to do that, and I think there's a lot of disagreement about whether the players are good enough. But we clearly shown that, like, even with the injuries, we could have hit top four with the games that we literally just kind of didn't chase, games we just folded over in, and we kind of ended up with the slap on the wrist at the end of the day. We'll likely get Europa, which I think is very good for the state we're in. We have a lot of young players that need game time, so playing in Europe and having those competitions was key. If we end up with Conference League, that will be a little more upsetting, but again, I don't think we should withdraw because we need the games. Going back to reasons why I think Poch needed to go, just his press conferences kind of just gave it all away. He kind of just, I don't know, he kind of did it to himself, especially his on field tactics weren't helping him, and then he kind of just would bury himself in the press conference room. He started off the year saying that we will kind of return to our form. We all knew that wouldn't be title challenging, but I think we expected to challenge for top four and kind of have a clearer stake in the European places. We did hit that target at the end of the day, but that's not the way it should look at all. There were no performances outside of like the last 4 or 5 where I could pull that. I could say like I really trust what Poch can put out there in the team, how he can set us up. I think one example is Cucurella had all the qualities to be inverted, and Poch kind of caught onto that like at the last, beyond, way past the last leg of the season. I think that was kind of something that just helped the entire squad. It didn't leave Caicedo as isolated. It allowed Gallagher to attack a bit more, and Gallagher was even willing to track back. I think that kind of just even upped kind of the performances we've seen out of Gallagher. I think it was very important to get Caicedo rolling. I think he's going to be the best, if not definitely one of our better players. Going to have to definitely lead our midfield. I think we even saw slightly better performances out of Jackson because he wasn't as isolated. I think obviously finishing is the main issue for Jackson, but he brings so many great qualities to a team that we got to see even more of from one simple move, and obviously there's a few others, but that was kind of there for him to take. And left back was clearly an issue that we were asking Cucurella to fill. I think Chilwell was injured, but when he was fit, I didn't even want him in the team at that position whatsoever. We started out with Cole. I think that was a misidentification. I don't think it was a terrible idea, but I think we saw quickly that that's not what we needed. That's not how we needed to play. That's not where we needed to develop him. So I think we saw better performances when he got to center back. I think not the greatest season, but I think he shows qualities that we can keep and excited to look forward to. Definitely challenging for game time with Fofana, Bashil. I think he can show improvements through preseason, but I think definitely might have to look to bring more quality there. But mainly DM and Striker. I'm getting on a rant about transfers. Let me keep it back to Poch. Poch. I almost let him get away a bit. I think he just never proved that he was a winner. I don't think really he did at any club he was at. I think I didn't love the decision to bring him in. I could follow the process. I think we thought he would kind of steady the ship, bring us back to top four was obviously the clear goal, which he failed. I think he not only failed it though, he failed it miserably. I think we were never really looking of any of the quality to kind of challenge for those European spots and like kind of set a stake. I think we scraped by having some quality at the end of the year that just was not good enough. And I think the board showing that and kind of sticking to their standards, I think is very nice to see, very encouraging to see. I think I definitely believe in bullying the board, but I think they did show their lack of pressure, or public pressure, I should say, on Pochettino throughout the year. Just wasn't very encouraging to a fan of the club, and I think the statement that they clearly said it, he didn't hit our expectations, so we decided that to separate and part ways with him. And at the end of the day, it's a great decision. I think best decision we could make at the time, but now it kind of leads us to a place where we have to make another decision, and I think it's important to keep in mind that these are two separate tasks, two separate asks, two separate processes. I think the decision to fire Poch is correct and has, I think it might put a light on if the next manager doesn't work out, like, oh, we shouldn't have fired Poch, oh, we shouldn't have. I think when a manager isn't good enough, he wasn't developing our players, he wasn't making correct decisions. We don't trust him to make transfer decisions. No reason to keep him around. Get him out of here. Get another guy in. Buy into the system. Pick out, even if there's a few qualities we like, some we don't like. Buy into those. Bring him in. Build around that, and kind of just show some form of a universal front across the board to directors, to the managers, to the players. That's another point. The players don't all seem to be happy with it. I think they're going to have to kind of get over it and move on. This is Chelsea. This is how we handle things when the manager isn't good enough. You're going to end up with a new manager next year. And thankfully, we're making the decision where they can have the preseason with this manager. And this manager is just going to have the full, everything to his ability, everything, full tools at his use. Giving him the full preseason will allow him the time he needs to implement. And again, for the fans, it leaves no excuses to show performance. Just hit the ground running. I think we've shown at the end of the season how good this team can be. And I think we need to open the year. And I think that's kind of has to be a key that, yes, these things take time, but we need to see something at the beginning of the year and just show that we can be a top four club. I think there is no excuse for that. I'm not too pressed about title challenging next year. I think City's just gonna run it back as long as they have Pep. So let's just develop our squad and get into Champions League and cement a squad that great players want to join, and we can build from there. I think we can't allow similar problems this year. Just the lack of standards is just very, very scary and frightening at a club of this magnitude. You have to live up to, make no excuses for, just standards. It's incredibly important. I think it's gonna be repeated, gonna be a very repetitive theme throughout next season. I think you'll see a lot of Chelsea fans just wanting, and the good Chelsea fans wanting to hold us to standards. I know there's a lot of people who wanted to keep Poch and just had that Stockholm syndrome to just keep him around for what reason, I don't know what. Just I guess they're scared of the unknown of being here with, like, yes, having a manager right now is not the place you want to be. There's not a lot of options, but at the end of the day, it's somebody's job to find a manager, and I think now the fingers pointed at the board. Bring in a manager, bring in the right players for him, and let's hit the ground running next year. Top four, no excuses. We need to run over these bottom clubs. Definitely don't let the mid-table clubs compete with us. It just show quality against the top six and finish in a Champions League spot. Those are my expectations. I think the players, they are scaring me a bit. I'm hearing Nani and Carney are protesting that. I hope that's a lie. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Leave it at the manager. Happy Poch is out, and we'll talk about the players a little later. Thank you very much for tuning in, and let me know how you're feeling about the state of Chelsea. If you're happy Poch is out, if you're a Chelsea fan, if you wanted to see him stay, why you would want to see him stay. Very interested in hearing that. And yeah, who do you think we should bring in? I think that is clearly the big question now. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe as usual, and appreciate you.